Good morning, everyone. We're about to bring you the latest COVID-19 UAE updates. However, if you found this podcast through an article, which so many of you are doing, please hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts so you can get your Dubai news daily.
Good morning, Dubai. How are you doing? Welcome back to Lovin Dubai show, where we go through all the trending stories that everyone in Dubai is talking about. We're going to talk about the latest from the COVID-19 press briefing last night. It includes whether or not you'll be wearing your mask in the near distant future.
And we'll also be talking about a woman is being made to pay 100,000 dirhams and loses her dog to her ex-fiancé.
Top story yesterday, Kris had listeners in actual tears when a construction worker won 10k on air yesterday morning. It was so beautiful.
We'll also be talking about Halloween and Diwali celebrations at Expo 2020.
The spookiest run in town, and blind film director Adam Morse is a trailblazer in the film industry. We have him on the show later, so stay tuned for that. He's a very, very inspirational guy, so do stay tuned.
Yes, but before we start the show, the sponsor of today's show is Expo 2020. With us officially entering the festive season, Expo 2020 have got us covered with new and exciting ways to celebrate and make memories. And although they are the sponsor of today's show, the thoughts and opinions are made here at Lovin Dubai.
Stay tuned for all of that. What a show we have lined up for you. You're watching on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We see your comments. I have them open. Hi, Mahator is saying hello from Karachi. Hello from Dubai. We see all your comments coming in. We love reading them after the show, so please do come through. If you have anyone that needs a shout out, let us know. But let's jump into our first story. UAE COVID updates. Keep your masks on. Last night's press briefing was one of triumph, while also containing some serious words of warning. So the UAE celebrates reducing new cases to below 100 cases per day. A little shout out for the UAE. But that doesn't mean we can be complacent. As they said, although we are approaching to return to normalcy, and I feel like we can all feel that, the vaccine has largely contributed to reducing infections and deaths. But what is the new normal? So when SEMA continued, they said, since the outbreak of the pandemic globally, we have urged everyone to adhere to precautionary measures. So here in Dubai, we're good on the social distancing, we're very good on the mask wearing, we're very good on the hand sanitizing, I hope, but this is the new lifestyle that we need to adhere to. So we're not waving goodbye to masks anytime soon. And then they followed this with some words of warning. They said new variants of the virus have been discovered in a number of countries, and they are still being monitored by experts and researchers to assess the risk levels. The Beta variant is dominant in the US and South Africa, while the Gamma variant is spreading mainly in South America. The WHO highlighted the spread of alarming variants of the virus in the world, most notably the Delta variant, which is spreading in many areas globally, followed by the Alpha variant, which is spreading in the Americas and some European countries.
I mean, it's such a scary scenario to think like the spread is again picking up pace, and I'm sure you've heard, like in China, they've put a city of 4 million under lockdown due to spike in domestic cases.
Wow. So this is the thing. I think that we're so fortunate that cases continue to drop. Like below 100 is
exceptional.
Yeah. So we just do see spikes in other countries. But that's kind of exactly what they said yesterday at the press briefing, which is there are spikes happening in other countries. They can see the variants in other countries where the spikes are happening. So although we can feel the normalcy, we still have to continue to like the 3 or 4 key things, which are keep your social distance, keep your masks on, keep sanitizing your hands. I feel like social distance is something that in crowds you can't really control, but your mask, number one, change it every day unless you have reusables that you wash, and your hand sanitizing, just keep doing that. Like that's just, my mum would tell you to do her little tricks, but I don't think they are suitable for airing. So
oh, okay, fine. I'll ask you
washing her nose. I don't know if that's scientific, but everyone has their own thing. But sanitizer, soap, whatever you can do.
There's actually like I remember when COVID just came out, and there were like ways, like proper ways to wash your hands.
30 seconds.
Yeah, you have to like scrub all the nooks and crannies out of your like literally scrub all the parts. So I hope people still remember that.
It's the happy birthday song.
What is,
it's like a little celebration every time you go to the loo. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Oh God!
Do you not do that?
No. Do you do that every time? But I mean, like honestly, wearing a face mask, like I get it. Like you do have to wear it all the time. But do you get a mask rash? Because I've started getting a mask rash.
Yeah, I've had it the whole time, just like spots and clogs and things.
and you get those little zits, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Better that than get sick, right? But moving on to our next story, a woman is being made to pay 100,000 dirhams and loses her dog to her ex-fiancé. Now, an incident recently took place in Abu Dhabi where a woman lost a hefty amount of 100,000 dirhams lawsuit against her ex-fiancé, in which she was attempting to seek compensation for moral and psychological damages as a result of the man refusing to return the dog that the woman adopted. Now, this was reported by Khalid Times. The Arab woman informed that Abu Dhabi court of first instance that the man had proposed to her, but later cancelled their engagement due to some misunderstandings. Now, the report states that La Prada, the dog, that's the dog's name, who was adopted from an animal care center and was later given to her fiancé at the time. They were still together, and she saw her dog as a family pet, as both she and her ex-fiancé loved animals quite deeply. And once their union ended, the woman asked the man to return her dog, but he refused, and this entire situation took a very legal turn.
Oh no. Proof of phone conversations and a copy of a certificate issued by the Animal Care Centre was presented by the Arab woman in her defence. Moreover, the woman also requested for compensation of 100k. All claims were then denied by the ex-fiancé, and he handed the court signed ownership transfer documents showing that La Parada was legally under his ownership. So it gets difficult. After hearing both sides, Abu Dhabi court dismissed the woman's lawsuit and ordered her to pay for the man's legal expenses. So she doesn't get that 100k, and I guess the doggy stays with the daddy.
Yeah, the doggy stays with the dad, and instead she's the one who has to bear the legal expenses that the man had to pay for. But I mean, really, it feels like quite a custody battle situation here. You know, like your pet becomes like your child. You get so close, and then to have that, it's just really, really heartbreaking.
Well, it's a word of warning, and I'm going to look at it from the pet angle because James and I, my boyfriend, we have a dog together, but it's all under James's name. But also, potentially, let's say, for example, if you don't have animals with your partner, what if you bought a car together? And the car, because I'm just thinking of another couple I know, the car is in his name.
Okay.
And it's like, and I know you should like it, but it's like, for me, it would be right now, if my relationship ended, it would be Goose. Like, what would happen to Goose?
Yeah.
But other people could be like, what if you bought this expensive car? You would. What if you bought this expensive car? It's the same. So, like, it is that thing that if you are in a committed relationship with someone, you have something that's very dear to your heart, and then you split, what's going to happen? So sometimes those conversations are worth having.
Oh my God, just like the worst conversations to have. And then in this situation, like it ended up at court and just fighting for, oh my God, your pet. I can't imagine how difficult it must be on the both of them, because we don't really know their situation. Like, we're hearing both sides, we're reading what's there, but honestly, like it's still like doesn't matter what the situation is. Just being a pet parent, you know, they both are going through like a very hard time, and so is the pet for sure.
And of course, we haven't touched on the family matters, if that were the case, but that would be a whole other heartbreaking situation.
That's a lot of money, 100,000.
What would be yours in your relationship right now if you broke off? What would be the thing that would be the difficult thing to let go?
We don't have anything we own together. Maybe the access key. No, he'll have to give me back my access key to my parking.
He has access key to your parking.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't have a car, so I just gave him my access key so he can park at my place. But no, otherwise we don't have anything we share. If we had a dog...
But it doesn't even need to... Let's say, for example, if it's not like a massive monetary value, it could be something that you won together, or something that, like, for example, what if he has like a jumper, for example, that you love, but it's his? Or so, you know, something like that you're like, oh, I don't want to give that back. Sorry, I don't want to go down this road. We fought enough so that all our things are like already separated from before. I thought you guys didn't fight.
No, like you fight and then you get over it.
Yeah, of course. So healthy. Moving on to our next story. Did you cry yesterday morning listening to the radio? Chris Fade and the Chris Fade Show team had listeners in tears when a construction worker won 10k on air. So the Chris Fade Show has listeners in tears yesterday morning. As you guys know, every morning at 8:10 a.m. Chris Fade and the Chris Fade Show host the 10K pop quiz. And yesterday, as usual, Kris kicked off the interview by asking the guest a little bit more questions to get to know them a little bit more. So we found out that Robert, who was the caller that morning, he was a construction worker. He's from Ghana and he'd been working in the UAE for a year. And something that was very touching is that he's also an avid listener of the show. So although he wasn't allowed to, he would put his earbuds in and listen in beneath his helmet at work, even though he was allowed to. He said he would listen to it all day, which I think kind of like, you know, you were just like, it's very, very sweet. Anyway, the conversation continued and we learned that he also makes 1,000 dirham a month, which is kind of, you know, it's not a massive salary. So the quiz started and you nearly thought he was going to make it. So it's if you get 10 questions right, you get the 10K jackpot. And if you get 9 questions right, you get 900. And I think he got nearly like, it was like true or false, like Kris was going at it like to get the questions right.
Oh my God.
And he probably got about 7 or 8 questions.
Yeah.
And you heard it too.
Yeah, it was so, like really at the end, Kris Fade is just like, you know what? I don't think anyone is going to peg me down for this. So what the heck?
The 10K, and Robert got the 10K, and it was just, I think Kris was just thinking at the moment.
His reaction was like really, it's like you're crying and smiling at the same time, like you're tearing up and you have the biggest smile on your face. Yeah. Just his reaction was so pure. And then when you ask like, what are you going to do with the 10,000? Like, I don't know, for me, I would just be like, spend it on a nose job. I don't know. But he didn't even think of himself, like such pure intentions. Like he wants to get his girlfriend here and support her. Like that's what he wants to do with the money that he's won.
I think we were all just shook. There was like all of the Instagram stories coming through, like, Kris Rachel, you made us cry this morning, starting the day with such positive notes. I've never been as emotional as I am now. I'm proper ugly crying. Like it's just one of those like beautiful radio moments. And it's totally funny because I didn't get the 10 questions right, but they were just like, we're going to give it to you. I think it's with Rack Bank, maybe. I'm not sure anymore, actually. But it was just a fabulous radio moment. And I actually heard it. What I'm kind of annoyed about is I didn't hear it live. Yeah. So I saw it on probably Kris Fade's Instagram, and they've obviously cut out the bits where like he probably got like over emotional with his language.
Oh, okay.
So like they probably cut out a bit of it. But like, you know, congrats to Robert. An amazing and just like amazing radio by the Kris Fade team. It was such an emotional bit of radio. I think it all gave us a little bit of spike of happiness.
That really, really was like one of the best. And there was this one part where he's like, okay, Penelope Cruz, was she married to Tom Cruise? He's like, true. He's like, Penelope Cruz, was she married to Tom Cruise? And he's like, false, you know, like repeating the question so he gets it, like he gets the hint and like re-answers them.
Yeah, exactly. Kris like held him through. It was great.
Amazing. But we'll move on to our next very exciting story, Halloween and Diwali celebrations at Expo 2020. Now it's almost the weekend and Expo 2020 have got you sorted all weekend long with different events to take part in for Halloween and the week to come. Starting with... Are you or am I?
I'll go. Mudra Haunted Graveyard, the 28th of October. So first up, be sure to give yourself the perfect start to the weekend and take part in the Haunted Graveyard. And I've seen some photos of this, like it looks scary at the top of the Terra Pavilion, where you can get tasty treats, a spine-tingling cocktails and some monster jams from their resident DJ. So tunes, cocktails, tasty treats and something very, very spooky.
And Expo, a musical Halloween, 31st of October 2021, which is on Sunday. Now, just in time for spooky season, the show will pay homage to the shows that brought the spooky shows that brought the spooky shows. Just gonna go on a loop. Anyway, musical stage to life, including...
That was actually just a tech thing. That wasn't Zimmer. That was just a...
I'm glitching, yes, you can tell. Including classic soundtracks from Little Shop, Phantom of the Opera to Thriller and Beetlejuice. Say hello to the most thrilling Fright Night in all singing, all dancing, all terrifying 1-hour show at the Dubai Millennium Amphitheater.
This is the one that they're really, really promoting. So if you're looking for something very spectacular, I would get down for that. You need no reason to go to Expo. Like if you've already been, you know that you're going to go like 10 more times throughout your time. And if you have kids, take them down for this. Like it's going to be once in a lifetime. Like it's never going to be recreated. I can just even imagine what they're going to like lay out for it. So and lots going on down there for Halloween. So get down there this weekend.
I really hope and pray schools take students on a little field trip on Sunday, That would
Sunday?
be the cutest
Oh,
thing.
because it's Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah. And it's like they get to learn, they get to dress up and just go and enjoy. I really hope they do that.
Well, I think there is a massive school drive to get all the kids there a couple of times, but it'll just be the lucky school that's there on that day.
Imagine.
Where are your costumes? Love kids dressed up in costumes. Love it.
That's the cute. It's made for them. It's not made for us. We just spoil Halloween adults.
Do you think?
I think so.
Interesting point that's become more about us than about the kids.
It has.
But kids dressed up in costumes, I love it. I love matching family costumes as well.
Especially if you see Modern Family and just like how the adults go so overboard with decorations and the kids are like, we're done.
Get your costumes, get down to Expo this weekend. There's so much going down.
Yes, and following that, now Expo at Diwali, 4th till 6th of November 2021. Now, with it being officially festival season, spending Diwali at Expo just seems like the perfect opportunity to do something different and memorable. This Diwali, you can expect fireworks, special and exclusive retail offers, as well as multiple events and performances that will take place. Now, you can also expect Peter Cat when Chai met Toast, Shilpa, Anant and Dhol Tasha on the Jubilee stage.
So performances, fireworks, so much going on. And actually both of those things, like across the city, there'll be a lot going on for Diwali and Halloween. As you know, the city's just getting busier and busier and there's heaps of celebrations. So whatever you're into, get out and enjoy it.
I am like, more than anything, I'm just excited to see the Wassail Dome because they have like 1,000,000,001 projection ideas lined up for it. And anything, like when it was Space Week, it was all space themed, not all, like a lot of the segments. And now with the festive season rolling in, Halloween, I'm sure they have
that Halloween projection is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You have to see the Al Wassail Dome. Like, it's the largest 3D projection dome in the world, and it's just amazing. Like, I was standing there just totally in awe, and I'm walking away being like,
my God. And then for Diwali, they'll have like lamps and stuff. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, that Al Wassail Dome is magic.
Get down there, guys. However, if you're more into something of the Fit Variety, you could also prepare for the Spookiest run, in town this weekend. So this Saturday, Race Me are throwing a one-of-a-kind costume race. So right before Halloween night. This run will be different from any others. So instead of going down any old route that you've seen before, you'll actually be dodging ghouls and you'll be dodging ghosts along the canal route. And you'll run the Haunted Gauntlet, filled with scares and filled with fun. There'll also be a prize for best dressed costume, so make sure you bring your niftiest Halloween outfits.
Yes, and tickets are available for 125 dirhams, and tomorrow noon is the deadline to get your hands on them. So make sure to sign up ASAP. The total capacity holds 1,000 persons, so make sure to get your hands on them before they run out.
As we've already said, the race is taking place on October 30th and will start at approximately 6:45. I love the idea that you're actually dodging ghosts and you're dodging ghouls while you run. Like, that's so fun for kids. No, the ghosts. Like, it's great. I love it.
Imagine someone move.
No touching.
They have that, you know, haunted houses and stuff. You cannot touch the actors.
Well, the scariest haunted houses I remember growing up was when you'd walk through. It was like the most basic haunted house that you'll ever see. It was near where I live, so it was just so basic, but they would always have a person hiding. So when you walk through, you'd always get a that was this, and you're just so good. And then it would always get you every time.
Oh, they have amazing ones in the UK. I can't remember, like, not Madame Tussauds. I don't know, there's one haunted house, like the haunted house.
I'm thinking of Stranger Things right now.
Oh, I forgot what it's called. There's one really popular haunted house in London. I can't remember the name now. Whatever.
You could Google it. We have time.
We have time. Should I just Google it?
Nothing but time, really.
While we keep them busy.
We do want to know if you guys are dressing up, what you guys are dressing up as, and we also want your pictures. We shared Dubai's spookiest villa so far, and keep sharing your photos with us on DMs because we love to see people dressing up. It gives us inspiration for our own costume. I tried to order a Squid Games costume and it was sold out.
Oh no, I wanted the costume from Adam's Family.
I tried to get the green tracksuit. I just thought it'd be handy for after Halloween because I could just reuse it for day-to-day life, actually. That was my thought process. Get a free...
Smart, genius.
Free
like, you're thinking one step ahead of the game. Like,
I'm thinking practically.
Yeah.
Not thinking like a...
But our costumes may also come in use. Like, you can use it as PJs later. We won't reveal what it is yet, but it's pretty special.
Yeah, it's amusing. That was a pun. Now you know what we're going to do. I'm sorry I ruined it.
No, I don't think they got. It could be a moose. A moosing.
It could be a moose.
But it's called the Dungeons London since we had the time to Google it.
Oh, nice. Great. The Dungeons London. Scary?
Super.
Worth the flight ticket to London?
Oh, that is the only reason you should be going to London.
Questionable. Stay tuned. Right after the break, we have blind film director Adam Morse. His story as a trailblazer in the industry, from partially losing his sight back on a film set in Dubai in 2019, even though he's from London. 2009. Watched in the interview. We had a fabulous chat here a couple of days ago while he was in town for GITEX, so stay tuned. It's going to be with you right after this. Lovin Extra is here. This is the new membership, and while absolutely nothing changes for our readers, Extra members get access to premium content, exclusive competitions, and first look for tickets and access to the coolest events across the city, and Lovin merch. If you subscribe right now, a very cool Lovin Red Eco Water bottle will be delivered to your door. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Our guest today has an incredible story to tell, an actor and director who recently joined season 2 of Apple TV Plus series C alongside Jason Momoa. His directorial debut back in 2018 was a movie called Lucid, starring Billy Zane and Sadie Frost, and he did all of this and more 1 decade after losing his sight in Dubai when he was 19 years old. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Adam Morse, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. So you are no stranger to Dubai?
No, Dubai is my home from home. It's somewhere that I've been coming since 1997. My family have been here for 50 years. It's dear to my heart. I love it here.
And what brings you here this time?
I'm here for GITEX. I've been invited to come as a speaker and talk at the conference about being an entrepreneur in the film industry, starting my own production company, and doing what I do.
Interesting. So right before the show, we just had the usual chat. Adam asked me how long I'd been in Dubai, and then you mentioned that you had family here for 50 years. And then you broke into the story about your first ever role as a runner on a movie here in Dubai, and it kind of just gave all of us a little chill. Can you go back to that, working with your family member and that role in that movie?
Sure, yeah. So I was here in 2009 working on City of Life, which was directed by my cousin, Ali Mustafa. And I think, if you didn't know, Ali's, mother and my mother are sisters. So, I had the privilege of coming here to, work on that film as an assistant, and I got to be an extra in it as well. And, back then I had ambitions to be an actor. Of course, being the director's cousin, I had the luxury of being able to shadow him and learn, the ropes of filmmaking from a technical point of view, talking to the crew and everything. But it was on that set where I first started noticing that I was losing my eyesight, and it was here in Dubai when I first started going blind in 2009.
When you say it, like, how rare is that for you to lose your eyesight? I know that your brother has the same condition. How common is that for 2 family members to be affected? And is there a cure?
It's very uncommon. In fact, it's been baffling for the professors and the people who had diagnosed us at the time, because we were 3 years apart. We are 3 years apart in age. He was 16, I was 19. We were in different countries, and we both went blind at the same time.
Wow.
There's no cure for the condition. It's rarest eye condition in the world. It's a mitochondrial disease. I've been living with it now for over 10 years. I'm well adjusted, and it's taken me time to realize that this is not an accident. It's not random. It's happened to me for a reason. Actually, I've embraced it as a blessing from God, because it's put me on this path that I'm on now, and I feel very fortunate to be in this position, because not only am I making films and telling stories, doing what I love, but I'm reaching people on a spiritual level where I get to inspire others who are, people of determination or anybody actually, whether you have a physical or mental impairment or not. I just want to uplift everyone and motivate people to go after their dreams the same way that I have done, and not be stopped by any obstacles.
That's so powerful. And it's just interesting that you were in your first role as a runner in a movie when this happened to you. So I guess you kind of probably saw the shining lights of the movie career. Yeah. How did you kind of readjust your path to continue and a decade later be directing a movie that Billy Zane is in it? Like, how did that even come about? It's incredible.
Well, when I first started losing my sight, the deterioration was over a year before it stabilized, and what I was left with is what I'm left with now, which is partial peripheral sight. And I thought, okay, well, how am I going to act? How am I going to learn my lines? I can't read anymore. How am I going to see my marks on stage or on set? And how am I going to look into the eyes of another actor, or whoever I'm acting opposite? How am I going to do any of these things? So I was very skeptical and unsure of what I could do. And then after I readjusted and reinvented myself really, and reprogrammed my brain to think in a more positive way, and took my mind to a different place, where I could be, positive and think about, okay, what can I do then? And actually I realized I can do anything, and then thought, okay, well, what's really going to surprise people is if I go to do the most difficult thing, which is be a film director and tell stories in a visual medium without sight.
Is it true Billy Zane didn't know that you were partially blind? No one knew?
No, the investors, almost all the crew and cast, no one knew.
That's incredible. Yeah. That tells such a story of how you can really, it paints such an incredible picture of how you wanted something and you went after it.
Yeah, and I didn't want, because it can be a double-edged sword, you can, and people ask me why I didn't tell anybody and why I kept it a secret. I wasn't looking for sympathy, but on the contrary, it would have been the opposite actually. I found that firsthand, that when I was pitching the film and the subject of my condition came up, companies, producers that I met with were, they weren't on board with collaborating with a blind director, because it does sound crazy, who's going to trust $1 million to a blind person to make a film? Well,
it's the headline I read people are writing about, because it is such an incredible role, I guess.
Yeah, and because there was no one else who had done it before, there was no reference point to say, it's okay, it's going to be all right. Look, this person's, I had to be the first person to go out and do it, to blaze the trail and, give the example to other people and lead by example to show that it is possible, and that's why I refer to myself as differently abled, not disabled, because as an artist I can still deliver, and I've proven that I can deliver and make films. I just have a different process.
Speaking of your process, it's so interesting. How do you deliver it differently? Because obviously how do you approach it differently to anyone else?
Well, there's all the nuances of how I live, which is incorporated into my work too. How I connect with people, how I go off of energy and vibrations, and in terms of making connections with people, opening my heart to them and letting people in quickly, being vulnerable, and tapping into the frequency of somebody else's emotions and being able to access this and telegraph it as a storyteller on screen. These are all fundamental responsibilities of a filmmaker or a storyteller. But quite simply, I just have a bigger monitor and I stand closer to it because I have the partial peripheral sight that I have left.
Yeah.
I use that to direct the camera, direct the actors, frame the shot. My nose is basically touching the glass of like my 60-inch screen, and you would have thought that had been the giveaway, that the director's blind, getting that close to it. But everyone just they thought I had an amazing attention to detail, and it was like a new wave style of directing, and it is a new wave style of directing for me, but it's the only way I can work, obviously. So
it's interesting. We're talking a lot about directing, but of course you're acting, and you've just joined season 2 of C, which is the Apple Plus TV show that a lot of people are talking about, starring Jason Momoa. And in case you don't know, the premise for this show is, in the far future, humankind has lost its sense of sight. Jason Momoa stars as the father of twins born with the mythic ability to see. What is your role in the show?
So I play a witch finder called Fry. I'm one of the Queen's soldiers who's sent to find and capture Jason Momoa's children and bring them to the Queen.
And being involved in an Apple production, I can only imagine, but it's set in a dystopian time. It's a Game of Thrones-esque type vibe. What is that like?
It's amazing. I mean, the sets are not sets. The shooting floor is a frozen forest in the Canadian wilderness. Where a few hours outside of Toronto.
Wow.
In these valleys, in nature reserves where you're really in the wild, and it's really special to shoot on location like that because the environment really breathes life into the scene, and it's like a character itself. You're in a space like that, but it's such an honor to be a part of that production. In my small way, and a lot of fun too, and an insane experience learning how to horse ride. I've never been on a horse before in my life. Learning how to sword fight and do all these things where people I think were not expecting me.
How are you jumping into those roles to these? Could they provide a stuntman, or are you like, no, I just
no,
want to
of
do
course,
it?
and I had somebody there, a stunt double that was on hand to help, whenever I needed it. But I insisted that I wanted to learn all of the choreography myself, and I wanted to immerse myself in all of the stunts because there, again, it's about being the first, and maybe it comes, maybe it was written in the stars with my name, Adam being the first person to do something. There is, being the first blind film director, being the first blind action star. I need to be the first because then it allows other people, the kids now that are out there who might have some kind of visual impairment, if there are any children out there who are blind or partially blind or have any, and even if it's not just visual impairments, anybody with any kind of condition that might on the surface seem to hold them back. I want to do all of these things to basically be that person who champions being different and give permission to other people to be able to do it, so that the decision makers go, okay, it's possible, let's trust and have faith that there will be a new wave of artists like myself who are going to come through now and do the same.
As long as there's representation, which hopefully lots of media coverage gets, which is amazing.
Yes.
Being the Trailblazer. And speaking of this show in particular, because obviously the theme is lack of sight,
yes.
How important was it, like the moment you got the call for this show, how did that feel? Because it was kind of like another jump in your career, another career peak moment.
Absolutely. This is my first, big job as an actor. And of course, jumping in the deep end, in a giant production with Apple on sea.
Can't even imagine what an Apple production is like, by the way. Like just, the money we're talking, it's going to be big. I
mean, yeah, obviously they've put a lot of money into this show, and it's all on the screen. It's just it's so different to anything else out there, and I'm so proud to be a part of it because I'm a fan of the show. I love it. It's really fantastic. For anyone that hasn't seen it, I can't recommend it enough because it's like nothing else on TV.
Do you find yourself working with the directors there, kind of like just having an eye and seeing what they're up to?
Yeah, no, of course, as a fellow filmmaker, you can't help but think about how would I approach this, or what would I do 100%. With the camera and. But it's not my place. When I'm an actor, you just got to bite your tongue and keep your opinions to yourself in that regard, especially, when, I'm a very, small part in the show. But no, I was lucky to work with, a great director in Fred Toy, and especially the showrunner, Jonathan Tropper, who's, really phenomenal. He's a, director in his own right and, shot some pickups on the show. And he's responsible. He created the entire season 2 of C, and just did such a remarkable job. Also, Joe Strechay, he's somebody I got to work with on the show, who's a producer, but also a blind consultant on the show. Okay. And he had worked on the Daredevil show as a blind consultant as well, and so he gave me all of my blind culture training, which people laugh at because they're like, why do you need blind culture training if you are blind? Being blind for over 10 years now. Actually, it's really unlearning everything that I've been practicing for 10 years, which is faking eyeline, looking where people are, and every day is an act to fit in socially. So I have to, lose all of that.
Give us a blind culture training. What does that mean?
Well, there's a very specific culture for different tribes in the show, and how the different people live. Because like you say, it's in the future, and sight has been gone from our world for over 200 years. So. People have a way of communicating, with knots and ropes, and people have a way of moving and feeling with their arms and exploring space, and it's all very specific, and it it was really interesting actually working with Joe, and Joe is blind himself, and Joe Stretche was the person who taught me how to use a cane, use their sticks in the way that they do in the show, and having a sleep shade over my eyes and being in complete darkness, and even losing the partial sight that I've got left to move around. It was crazy because I had to learn how to use echolocation, using sounds from my mouth to bounce off and reverberate around a room or a space to map out sonically with your mind how you basically seeing with your ears, like bats do, or
a whole new experience.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
So this is acting. We've discussed directing. Where do you see your future? Where is the real passion for you?
I mean, entertaining people. Telling stories. That's my one and only passion that I mean, not my one and only, but it's my one biggest passion that I've had since I was a child, and I'm happy as long as I'm entertaining people, in some way, whether it's performing, playing characters, or even making music, which is something that I've done since before I lost my sight, and I want to continue to do that, and hopefully be back in Dubai and spend more time here. And if there are any opportunities to work here in Dubai, of course, for me that's a dream because I love it here, and I want to keep directing as well, and writing and producing.
Amazing, and it's where your career started as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Guys, that was Adam Morse, who's in town for just a short time, London-based, but his career so far is truly incredible. If they want to find you, if they'd like to reach out to you, what's the best way that they can do that? Sure,
on Instagram, just search my name, Adam Morse. Handles the Morse Force, so please feel free to connect. I'm always happy to, connect with people, and that's, why I love doing what I do, is because it's all about, working with people and meeting new people.
I really love what you're doing, just in terms of how you kind of showed how important representation is.
Thank you.
For everyone, and I think as media, people see how it's more important for a diverse kind of people to be shared. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Bless you. Thank you.
We're back every single weekday morning, same time, same place. Stay safe, wash your hands. We'll see you then. Guys, that is a wrap for the Lovin Daily. We are back same time, same place every weekday morning. And of course, don't miss the Lovin Show every Tuesday, where I chat with Dubai personalities. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have a great day.